All right. Levels is good. Let's start it back from the top, man. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Friday afternoon. Another edition of KnicksFanTV Live. CP the Franchise, Alex Rotaros on the other side. We are 17 days away from the start of Knicks training camp, and things are gonna go quickly into the preseason and ultimately into the 24-25 campaign, the most anticipated Knicks season in damn near 30 years, man. So we got a lot to talk about over these next few days, next few weeks. We are going to be previewing this Knicks season, and we're going to get into it, man, cover everything. So salute to everybody in the chat. YouTube, salute. Bleacher Report, salute. Facebook, salute. Twitter, X, salute. This is the simulcast stream. So do us a favor right now and share this video. Hit the share button wherever you guys are watching and let us know that the family's in here, man. We got a lot to discuss. Salute to Sky Zoo for the soundtrack, Blue and Orange, everything. We got the instrumentals. Let's go. And let's get into it, man. Al, what's up, man?
Wow, it's been a minute since I've been on the show with you, man. You know, I've been taking a little bit of a vacation almost, you know. Yeah. Not really, though, but we're, got the day job, have to do all that type of stuff. But, man, watching you grind, watching your success, you're hustling like there's no tomorrow. You're hustling more than Josh Hart out here, man. Keep it up. I like it. I like what I'm seeing. But, hey, man, look, I'm ready. You said 17 days were away from just training camp? That is insane. It just felt like yesterday we just watched this team in the second round go against the Indiana Pacers. 17 days away. I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to breaking down every single position as we get ready to the season, man, because how can you not be hyped? If you're a Knicks fan, you said it yourself, most anticipated season. We get Mikal Bridges. We re-signed OG Anunoby. Yeah, we lost Isaiah Hartenstein, all right? But it don't matter because this team is still ready to go. So I'm ready to talk about everybody, get locked and loaded for this season because it should be a good one, man. It should be a real good one.
Definitely going to be a good one, man. And part of this, the preview, we're going to be previewing the positional breakdowns. We're going to get into lineups, all that good stuff, man. But let's start with the center rotation because this is going to be probably one of the key question marks heading into training camp and beyond. And let's start with Julius Randle, bro, because there's three ways I think we could really look at Julius as it relates to the center position. Well, number one, his overall importance to this team and them reaching their goals and being a true contender. Number two, him filling in at the center spot, given the lack of depth at the position. And number three, all is quiet on the contract extension front. So there's a lot to talk about where Julius is concerned. I'm going to read this quote, though, Al. We got to start off with this one, man. And shout out to our guy, Ian Begley, friend of the program, of course. We got to start off with our guy, Ian Begley, because he dropped some news in his newsletter, which came out today. Shout out to our guy, Ian Begley. Let me get this straightened out here for the people in the chat to see properly, because we got to read as a family and break this down. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we like to do here on KFTV. So according to our guy, Ian Begley, Al, when asked about Julius Randle and the future with the Knicks, Ian says, Julius is ready to accept any role that is asked of him on this Knicks team if it leads to winning. He says Randle has been excited about this Knicks team, believes they can make a run, and he's looking forward to being back healthy with this group and thinks that things can be special with the acquisition of Mikal Bridges. He wants to win and win in New York. He was a bit frustrated by, the ridiculous rumors about the jersey selling and all of that. But bottom line is he's bought in, he's locked in, and he's ready to do whatever it takes to win, man. So give me your thoughts on that, bro.
I mean, that's what you want to hear, man. That's what you want to hear from, look, your number two guy on this team, okay? It's Brunson, number one. We know it's Brunson's team. He's got the C on his chest now. He's a captain. He's designated that spot. Julius Randle is right up there with the importance to this team. Look, we saw it in the postseason, not having another guy who's a consistent scorer, another guy who can play make for this team, okay? Another solid rebounder, right? He offers a lot to this team. So seeing that he's willing to do anything to win at this point is just, it's music to any fan's ears, right? And I think for a guy like him who's had lackluster postseason success, I think you just have to buy into what this team is doing right now, seeing how it's being formulated, and just whatever role Tibbs gives you, whether it be playing the 5, hopefully, whether just being a guy who can score and just grab rebounds and not asked to be doing too much, because you got the depth on this team now, right? We don't have to have him guard like the best power forward or best big on the opposing team. That's why we got OG and that's why we got Bridges now. All right. So for him to say he'll do anything necessary to make sure this team is a winner, that's what you want to hear, man. And for him, I think you have to accept that and just go into the role of saying, this is Brunson's team. All right. So we see how this team's moving. Every decision that they made. You want to talk about getting the last Infinity Stone, as you say, for the New York Knicks and Mikal Bridges. Why are they doing that? Not only because he's a talented player, but that's Brunson's boy right there, right? They got all Brunson's boys on this team, all right? Between Dante, Bridges, Josh Hart, they're all here, all right? Everything they've been doing is saying that it's moving towards Brunson. That doesn't mean they're forgetting about Julius, all right? That's not what this is saying. However, there's a pecking order to how this team is moving. And I think if you're Julius at this point, not only are you a critical part of this team, but you're just you're not Brunson. It's not unfortunate. You're just not Brunson, and it's not where you look at it at this point. So he's going to be that second scoring option. We need him to do that, and we need him to be that solid rebounder because, look, man, the way that the East is compiled between bigs in Philly, you look at the Bucks, Boston. You got to control the glass if you want to win games.
Yeah. And that's one thing that he's done consistently since he's been with the Knicks is go out there and grab boards. And I think that is important, especially when this team has lost Hartenstein. And so it's going to be very important for Julius to go out there and maintain that. But I think regardless of the position that he plays, whether it's his natural position at the 4 or he does get some time at the 5, I just want to see him locked in. Like he said, he's going to be locked in, ready to do whatever it is takes to win. And for me, start on the defensive side. You know, be locked in. You don't want to have those defensive lapses where you're losing your man or, you know, guys are running backdoor on your pulls and, you know what I mean, things of that nature. Like, be locked in on the defensive side for 48 minutes. And then offensively, just be who you are. The 25-10 beast. Like you said, he doesn't have to necessarily get that 25, but I just mean the mindset because he still has to be an engine for this team, just like Jalen still has to be an engine for this team. And yes, some of those guys, one of those or two of those guys are going to have to dial it back on some nights and sacrifice for the betterment of the team, but you still want to have that aggressive mentality. You still want to be able to be that guy who's going to draw those double teams, create for others, being able to attack that basket, bully ball Randle. Let's see how he is with the shoulder, right? Mentally and physically, how does he bounce back from that recovery from the shoulder surgery? It's been a while since he played. So, you know, let's see how he gets into the groove, but ultimately he still needs to maintain that aggressiveness and just be healthy at the right time for these guys to make their run in the playoffs.
And look, CP, I mean, we talk about this guy being, you know, the guy who can grab boards and score, but he's also the second best playmaker on this team too, okay? So let's also keep it a bean when we talk about that. That's why, look, we got to stop with the disrespect to Randle. I get that people are out there like Cat, whoever. Please stop. This guy is we're talking about a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA player. I get that he has underperformed in the postseason, but when we were looking at how this team is created, right? Julius is as much of as a needed playmaker as Brunson. You look at the stats, 6.7 assists were completed by Brunson last year, right? Right behind him, 5 by Julius. And look, after we got OG, those numbers started to go up. You saw some 6, 7, and 8 assists out there, and it's just easier for him when you have guys that are capable of knocking down shots, guys who are cutting. So for him, having a team like this where you now insert Bridges, and you're going to have Dante, Bridges, OG, Brunson, guys that can knock down threes left and right, you're going to see those assist numbers start to tick up, especially if he plays the 5, because you got to kick out from the paint. Someone's most likely going to knock it down because we're talking about guys who are at least a 38% knockdown three-point shooter, right? So let's also keep in mind that he's going to be that facilitator that we're also lacking in the postseason too. So Julius is a critical factor, and I got confidence, man. I thought last year he was going to show it in the postseason. Obviously, he gets hurt. I still got confidence, especially with how this team is constructed. And that's why I'm kind of more bullish this year, man. Why I'm so excited is because I think this is going to be that year we see Randle actually have success in the postseason.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, man. The Julius redemption story is the final chapter of the book. It would be nice to see him come into the postseason with this team and really deliver, because this will be the best team that he has played for since he's gotten here on the Knicks. Now, let's talk about him potentially at the 5 here, because behind Mitch, I do still think that Tibbs will go to Precious first at the backup 5.
Not even Sims. Hold on, not even Sims, because we know, like, there's been reports that that's Tibbs' guy right there.
I don't know. No, I think he goes Precious first. Right. I think Precious goes first on the nights where the matchup suits him. You know, the nights when they play Denver, or the nights where they play Philadelphia, or even Milwaukee. Like, that might not be his night when he just has, you know, more physically imposing bigs against him. But certain nights, like playing Boston, he should be fine. He playing Indiana, I think he should be okay. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of nights where Precious will be adequate at the 5 defensively. He will be switchable. He will be versatile for them. But let's say, because right now, as of last month, Mitchell Robinson wasn't even cleared for full contact. So let's say, you know, God forbid, it takes Mitch a little bit of time to get going, and you're just left with Precious and maybe Sims. And hopefully Sims does come around. Like, he's training hard in the offseason. He's training hard on his offense. But do you see them going to Randle at the 5, man? What do you think about that prospect?
I hope so, man. I mean, in the past, we know why it wasn't happening, because we wanted to see what Obi, we wanted to see what Randle out there, put Randle at the 5. But Tibbs didn't believe in Obi's offense enough just as an individual scorer to have that happen. And we all know Tibbs is going to think about defense first, right? But in this case, with your best defense is your offense with Julius at the 5, meaning if you got to keep up with the guys that are knocking down shots, I think you can then say, all right, we don't need to be so strict as to having a rim protector as we once did, because we didn't have enough shooting, right? I would like to see Julius at the 5. I don't know if Tibbs is still going to do that.
Yeah.
Tibbs impressed me last season with how he was just able to, on the fly, middle of the season, you lose Randle, you lose all these guys. And we saw the offensive creativity of how fast that ball was moving around, right, and getting guys open looks. Part of me wants to have that confidence that Tibbs is going to look at this roster and say, you know what? We can be a little bit more flexible now. We can put Randle at the 5, because why not have 4 of our best shooters on the court at once? Why not? And then when you have somebody like OG Anunoby out there, man, like, come on. On some nights, he can guard the 5. We know he can guard 1 through 4 easily. And if we're thinking about second units, and this is really the time to shine with Randle at the 5. Like, if you're going against second units, why not have Randle at the 5? Not every team has a true 5. We had that luxury last year having 2 7-footers. We were the anomaly. We weren't the standard. So when you think about having Precious, like, Randle is around the same height as Precious. That's usually what most teams have out there. So, yeah, we're going to see Precious, but I would love to see Randle at the 5, especially with the offense that we're going to have now. I don't think there's really an excuse not to see it this season. As I said, I think your best defense is now your offense, because, once again, if you have guys who are knocking down threes at 37% clip, like, it's that new age of offense in the NBA where try to keep up, man. Try to keep up with our potent shooting.
Yeah, good points. Good points, man. And salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys, CP and Alex. We are cooking on this Friday afternoon matinee edition stream. YouTube, salute. Bleacher Report, salute. Facebook, salute. I see my guy Ty Clemens in the chat. Alex Flowers. My franchise channel members on the YouTube side, go ahead and leave us an emoji. Let us know that you guys are in here. The phone lines are up, man. You guys want to tap in on this center rotation conversation. 657-383-1509 is the number to call, or you can hit us up on the KFTV Discord. I think with Tibbs, desperate times will call for desperate measures with him. That's why I'm not so sure that off the rip they will go there with Julius. I think, in a best case scenario, you have Mitch out there and then you have Precious out there. But let's say Mitch does go down or you do lose Precious. I think that's when it may force Tibbs' hand to get a bit more creative out there, just like he did with the Philly series and putting Anunoby and at times Precious out there on Embiid. Like he had to do that. But I know that, their concerns with Julius is twofold: the rim protection ability and also his ability as a roll man. in the pick and roll game, in the screen game. I think those are two things where, as he talks about doing whatever it takes to win, those are two areas where they're going to want to see him improve to really be sustainable at that 5 spot. And then if they do go small there, is it an OG manning more 5s than Julius, where he's still kind of the 4, but you got OG out there, you get Bridges, maybe you get Hart, DiVincenzo, Brunson. You know, you get a rotation like that out there. I think that would be very interesting to see.
I just want to see some lineup creativity, CP. Shout out to our guy JD, who coined the term template coaching. As we know, years past, right? Or not too far, but like when we had Quick, RJ on the team, like you knew what the starting 5 would be, you know what the bench unit would look like. You could get so granular down to like the 5-minute, 23-second mark that you knew who was coming in and what was going to happen, right? Yeah. We need to move a little bit past that now. We need to be a little bit more open to what this team could potentially be. You know, we got to look at what Brad Stevens would do. You got to look at what Steve Kerr would do with his team, right? You got to look at what other teams are doing. We could potentially have our own death lineup. I get that you're talking about the concern of Randle being a roll man and a screen setter. But as we know from when we've talked to John Krasinski, you know, we know even talking to Fred Katz, like, there's not a lot of practices that go around in the NBA, right? Yeah. And especially with Tibbs now, because you want these guys fresh. You don't want to overburden them. You don't want to put the taxing on their bodies. So what better time to get that practice than the regular season? You know, if you want Julius to be a better screen setter and a roll man, do it during the regular season. Choose your matchups, right? You're going to have enough times against the Washington Wizards, Washington Generals, whatever they should be called at that point. You're going to have all these opportunities. So just figure it out, man. You're going to, like, he did it. This is what I'm saying. Like, he did it last season on the fly when you lose Randle, right? Yeah. And you lose OG. Just do it again, man. I don't think we don't need to see this team be so strict with how this roster is constructed right now.
True indeed, man. Now let's get to a little worst take, shall we, Al? This was a submission. I don't recall the fan who submitted this, but this was from ESPN and their NBA Today show. Shout out to our guy. Hang on one second. I had the wrong thing up there. Shout out to our guy, Big Perk, the governor, who represents us quite well on that show. So this was NBA Today, their take on Julius and his situation with the Knicks. Let's listen to it, and then I'll have you react to it. Here we go.
Hurt. He was essentially the number 2 option for these New York Knicks. And now they have brought in the full Nova Knicks, right? They have OG Anunoby. Mitchell Robinson is back. Trying to figure all of that out, Shanae, is going to be a challenge.
Well, we're all players here. And as much as we are playing a team sport, we understand it's important to be humble. The hardest position is watching your team succeed without you. That's very difficult to process. And I do think that he is a huge catalyst for them to move forward. But he's going to have to figure out where he fits in. That's something that he probably never thought or understood, Richard.
Yeah, but when you look at OG Anunoby, he's not a go-get-you-a-bucket guy. You go to Mikal Bridges, he's not a go-get-you-a-bucket guy. They got 2 guys that can create for others and themselves. That's their 2 best players, but one of them is going to have to take a lesser role, and that's what we're going to see if Julius Randle can do.
And the strength for Julius Randle is that he's a hybrid. Even though he's not as tall as the centers, he can really score, he can attack downhill, so I do think he can fill the gaps losing Hartenstein.
What do you think there, Al? Good take, worst take? What do you think?
I think they're underplaying. I think there's a lot that goes. There's a lot to digest out of that entire dialogue. I just want to say, like, with regards to talking about guys who can't create their own, I mean, I just don't agree with the Mikal Bridges and the OG Anunoby stuff because, one, we just watched OG this past postseason where he showed a little bit of offensive creativity. Is it as reliable? No, but I think you got to be encouraged with what you saw. Mikal Bridges was essentially that guy out in Brooklyn, all right? And we saw him being able to thrive in that type of situation. I say that's terrible to even give that type of analysis because you're not paying attention to what these guys did individually, either on the Knicks or in their previous stops. And I think on any given night, Bridges could even rise to being that number 2 option. Like he could catch fire, create for himself. Is he that guy like that you want to have doing that on a night-to-night basis? No, but he's going to have those nights. I just don't agree with that. With regards to Randle, I don't even think that he has. I think they're just downplaying how much of a sacrifice he has to make at this point, and I kind of just don't agree with that because he's still going to have to be that second guy on this team, like to score, as we already talked about, rebound, be that playmaker. just because we saw what Brunson did last year without Randle doesn't necessarily mean you want Brunson to be shouldering that type of workload again.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with any of those things that they've said. I think is it the worst take? I'm going to say it is the worst take, CP, because I just don't think that you need to go to that extreme. I think you can be a little bit more holistic, a little bit more like nuanced in the analysis of how this team is constructed and how they could move forward.
I don't think RJ was so far off, and he is a notorious Knick hater. But I think the point that he was trying to make was that you don't want to rely on those other guys as much as you do Julius, right? He is an all-star for a reason, right? Like, I think, yes, McCall could be trusted to get that for you, and OG as well, but Julius, that's been his role forever. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what Jefferson means is like, that's the guy that you really need to be an engine for them. But it will be interesting to see who takes a step back a little bit. Because it is an extra, especially with Mikal Bridges, that is more usage. That is an extra guy that does want the rock. He wants to get the rock in his hand and score and make things happen. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play it out because, yeah, for all the locker room chemistry that they have, they still got to get it done on the court. And just like you said, I don't think because I was asked this question on NBA radio yesterday. I was on with Rick Hamler and Antonio Daniels, and they were like, well, can Brunson finish in the top 5 this year in MVP? And I was like, well, he may not need to. It's almost like that Tatum situation where he may not have to be everything for this team for them to succeed. And maybe it does dial down the numbers a little bit for both him and Julius, where, you know, on any given night, it could be a guy's night. Maybe it's OG's night one night. Maybe it's McCall's night one night. Maybe it's Josh Hart getting you a triple-double off the bench one night. Who knows? You know what I mean? So it could be a situation like that.
For sure. And look, shout out to my guy, JJ, fellow Jets fan. Look, I saw, yes, I did. No, I'm not saying that Bridges thrived in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, though, is based on the experience that he got out there and what we saw from him, is that he can create for himself. I think it's a little much of an overstatement saying that he can't do it rather than, you know, he's not the most, is he the most efficient? Is he that guy that's going to be a top 10, top 15, top 20 even as somebody like a Paul George? No, I'm not saying that. However, on some nights, he can look like that guy. And when you have role players like that, if you get that out of them, which, by the way, when we talk about role players thriving at home, Bridges can thrive at home or on the road. OG can thrive at home or on the road. Yeah. So it's they're like in that gray area where they're role players, but they're a little bit more above that. And so when I say that, just saying that they are not the guys who create like Julius or Brunson, I think it's a bit of an overstatement. I think it needs a little bit more nuance than that. And look, CP, we're really going to get down to it. We know that OG's going to miss some time. All right, let's not fool ourselves. And if that's the case, Brunson and Randle could still get their numbers. Sure. You know what I mean? Because Bridges is going to have to be that guy at that point if there's no OG. So what we saw last season, and I know some may not like it, some may use it too much, but January was like that perfect month where we saw how well this team could thrive, right? With just OG, who didn't know anything about this team yet, didn't understand the scheme and stuff, but yet seamlessly fit in like a glove.
Yeah.
So with that, and we saw the scoring output, the playmaking output, I think it's all there. But the good thing is, as Yuri pointed out, we don't need to rely on these guys as much to, we don't need Brunson to go out there and just go carry the team to the finish line as we saw. I don't want to have to worry about that. And I don't think we will, especially if all these guys are healthy.
657-383-1509 is the number to call, or you can hit us up on the KFTV Discord. Shout out to Jay from East New York. Go ahead and call us up, Jay. CP the Franchise, Alex Rotaros. We are rocking 17 days away from training camp. And so to everybody watching on the simulcast, man, YouTube, Bleacher Report, Facebook, and Twitter X. Okay, Al, that's a Julius segment. How about Mitch? Just give me your overall thoughts on Mitch heading into training camp and beyond this year, man. What are your expectations?
There's expectations or what I want to see happen.
Both.
Well, what I want to see happen, I got 3 things: health, and health.
Yeah.
So he needs to be healthy first and foremost, because we know when Mitch is healthy, we know that he could be a dominant guy on the offensive boards. We know he could be that true rim protector that this team needs. What I would like to see happen is obviously a little bit more offense and a little bit more playmaking as a good passer. I think that is like, I'm asking for a little too much there for Mitch. Could he potentially get there? Maybe. Yeah. But I think that's a little too much. That's what I would love to see. But it comes down to health, man, because we know with Mitchell Robinson on this team, especially when you're a Tom Thibodeau-led team, defense is going to be at the forefront of anything when discussing how good this Knicks team is, especially when it comes to how gritty and how well they play defensively.
Yeah.
So Mitch's health is just the number one thing, because when he's healthy, we saw what he did, man. Beginning of the season, we're talking about a defensive player of the year type candidate, man. We're talking about a guy who would make an all defensive type team based on how he was performing before he got injured on December 8th against the Boston Celtics. So there's not, the things that I said, yes, offense, passing, because that's what Hartenstein gave to this team, and we saw how great this team was when he was in the starting rotation and the team was fully healthy, but that's asking for a lot in my opinion. I don't know how realistic that is. There's like slight optimism there, but just staying healthy, man, is all the biggest thing that we need from Mitchell Robinson at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's all about health for me when it comes to Mitch. As far as in years past when we do these previews and talk about expectations and everybody wants to see Mitch develop, back to the basket game or some sort of semblance of offense. I think he is who he is at this point in his career. And we just have to accept him and hope that he can accentuate on his strengths, which is as an offensive rebounder and a guy that can clean up the glass and a guy who can hopefully set some screens, free up Brunson. That I would love to see develop a little bit more. A bit of a two-man game. Can we utilize him in the vertical lobs as a vertical threat there? The vertical spacing. Can we see a little bit more of that between him and Jalen Brunson? I think that would be more of a realistic improvement than to see him, dump it down to him and let him go get it. Because I just don't think his game is tailored to that type of play. He's still a rim running big at the end of the day. So, like you said, health is definitely going to be number one. Just looking at his stats here, I was pretty surprised at this. His effective field goal percentage was the lowest it's been since he's been on the Knicks. And he's going to be entering into year 7, the elder statesman, man. Year 7 for Mitch. But he shot 57.5% effective field goal percentage. Only 58% from at the rim last year for Mitch. 13th percentile. That was a little bit low. So I definitely would like to see him be a bit more sure-handed around the rim and definitely clean up those opportunities, because if that's going to be low and the free throw numbers are going to be low, or you hope they improve, but they're probably going to be low, then offensively he's going to be very limited.
Well, I wonder if part of that's due to what you talked about, like Brunson. There's not really a strong connection like between Brunson and Mitch. And I think I talked about that at the beginning of last season. I think there's only 16 assists that were between those two. That was 2 seasons ago. So God knows, especially with Mitch being injured last season, what that number looks like. I don't even want to pull up that number. But with knowing that, I think that's part of what we see when we see a low effective field goal percentage, when we see a low field goal percentage in general, because he's not that back to the basket type player, right? And when he does get those opportunities, and as we saw last season, most of those opportunities, it was a clogged paint.
Yeah.
Like, what can he do if there's not enough spacing, or if you're finding him out in transition? So a lot of those times, I just remember him like losing the rock because he holds it low. So it just makes it easier for guards or anybody else just to get to attack, and he calls a steal, calls a turnover. But yeah, man, I'd say it's like, those numbers don't really shock me because there's just not enough there for him to do offensively, man. Like those years past, like let's think about when he was a rookie. It was like all we could see was just lobs, because that's it. That's all that he got most of those touches.
Yeah.
It's just not happening anymore, especially with Randle and Brunson.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see, man. Good stuff there. And hopefully the Block Nest Monster will be ready for training camp, but it's not clear. Like I said, as of last month, Ian Begley had reported that he was not yet cleared for weight. I think it was like weight-bearing activities or heavy weight-bearing activities.
That's sad, man, because we know how Mitch, it's a slow start, man, when he gets back. We've seen it in years past. We know it's a slow start for Mitch to get into form after coming off an injury. Like last year was like one of the very rare times where he had a full-on off season, he was healthy, and you saw start of the season very strong. Him coming back from injury, man, I just see a slow start. There may even be the possibility where he starts with the second unit just because you want to just rev him back up and take it easy.
One thing that was consistent, as you said, was his offensive rebounding percentage. The most in his Knicks career last year at 17.6%, put him in the 99th percentile among centers. His steal percentage, 2.1%, that put him in the 91st percentile. Block percentage went down a little bit, but I still believe that he's still a strong intimidator at the rim, which again is one of his strengths. One real quick question, and then we're gonna move on from Mitch. I was asked this question on NBA radio yesterday. With the loss of iHeart, do you think this team will be able to run offensively, optimally, with him at the 5?
No. I think it's tough to say yes, because the way that we saw was based on a lot of spacing and a lot of ball movement. And just through Mitch's time on the Knicks, we haven't really seen much of him as a passer. And usually when you get to Mitch, it's usually like the finishing touch, right? It's either that lob for a dunk, or, that's really it, man. There's not really much for Mitch's game. So I don't see it to be as efficient as it was with Hartenstein. But that doesn't mean they can't still be a good scoring team, and that doesn't mean they still can't be a dominant team with Mitch at the starting 5. I think what needs to happen is that you're just going to need a lot more shooting just to create those opportunities for him. And it's going to be a lot of, like, if this team really worked in a fast-paced, up-tempo offense, I can say yes. If it's Mitch and Brunson just running out in the open, yes, Mitch could seamlessly work. But that's not what this team does. This team likes to slow it down, grind out every possession, make you work for it. I don't see it necessarily being the most efficient as it was with Hartenstein.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Shout out to EC out, $10 super chat on the YouTube side. Says Randle and OG should share minutes at the 5. That's only if Randle can buy into it. So shout out to EC. He shares that sentiment. Salute to everybody on the Facebook side. B-Ball Dan O says Randle for the 5 is not bad, but not for the season. No way. LOL. Ron McDaniel on the Facebook side says, well, he says Mitch doesn't need to work on his free throws. I think he means he does, because I think Mitch would agree. He definitely needs to work on his free throw. Shout out to Mitch Myrie on the Facebook side, Dency Arias and Jasper Sevidanes. Shout out to Jasper and everybody checking in on the Facebook side. So we talked about those guys. We did talk about Precious, and certainly glad that he's back, because I think he will provide that versatility for these guys, and he really did settle in quite nicely last year. Then you have Sims, and you've got Huck Porty, but I think, while I don't have much expectations for those guys, and let me know what you think about this, while I don't have much expectation for those guys going into the season, I do think if you're going into a training camp and a preseason where both Mitch and Randle may not be available for you, maybe it's an opportunity for the 3 of those guys to continue to step up. Precious, Sims is probably going to be your starting center if Randle and Mitch are not available for the preseason. It could be Precious and Sims in that role, and then maybe it's Huck Porty that gets a chance. He's going to be on the 2-way, but maybe he gets another chance to showcase himself. So, although that could be the slow start, could be tough for the starters, could be an opportunity for the rotation.
I don't see Huck Porty getting that much of an opportunity. I think that's like truly break glass in case of emergency. If we're starting to see Huck Porty out there, wow, this season has really gone south. But I do see it for Sims, though. Precious, we know what Precious can do. Happy that he's back. We saw what he did defensively. We saw how he stepped up after a slow start joining the New York Knicks. Honestly, I do expect something from Sims, man. I really do, because the reason let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
This is a big opportunity for Sims. This really is. You don't have Hartenstein. We've heard how much Tibbs likes Sims. We see the things that Sims is working on, especially offensively. This is, for me, kind of a make it or break it for Sims at this point. You've been with the team for what? You got drafted in 2021. So now you're going to be entering your, third season around that? Third season? Like, I expect a little bit more at this point, and this is just a big opportunity for him to be a critical part in that rotation. Look, you don't get many opportunities in the league to show what you can do, and so for me, I think if you are now in this position where Hartenstein's out, if this hasn't screamed Let me work my tail off so that way I can solidify a spot in this rotation. I don't know what will, man.
Fair point.
So this is to me, this is a big opportunity for Sims, and I hopefully, because of how much Tibbs likes the guy, he steps up and shows out for that time being. Because if Mitch hasn't started practicing yet, I truly don't see a world. Even though I like Precious, and I've signed the forms, guys. All right, I'm with all you now. All right, I signed the apology form. I'm with you on Precious, but still, I just don't see Tibbs just running straight to Precious without giving Sims a starting opportunity, because he just loves rim protection, man. I just don't see it. Even opportunities when we've seen like Hartenstein's just like on the men, he can go to Precious. He chose Jericho Sims. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just see, this is just too much of an opportunity for Sims right now.
No, that's fair. And we got to remember also last year, or was it the year before that, when he used to alternate between Hartenstein and Sims sometimes at that starting five. For like, I think it was the year before that when Hartenstein first got here. It was kind of shaky in terms of, his fit. Remember, he was rotating both of those guys at the five. Remember he played both of them in the rotation at one
That's
point.
right.
So, yeah, you might be right on that. But maybe we shouldn't bail on Sims too quick. But he did put in some work this summer. He put in some work with our guy David Zenon, Mike Bibby as well. So he's working on his offense. I think defensively is where he needs to be a bit more consistent as well. His defensive awareness took a little bit of a dip back last year. I think that's why he ended up on the bench. So let's see. Jumpman Sims in year 3 can come through with something. They did pick up his team option. But I also think, the fact that and we're going to talk about this in the next segment, I do think the fact that they are still looking at names, the Yurt Sevens of the world, I think that's also an indication that they may not have as much optimism or enthusiasm with Sims. Well, maybe we could all be surprised. Who knows?
I mean, we're talking about that right now. We're talking about the center options, or like what? Okay, so
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Do the reset. Do whatever you got to do.
Okay, yeah. Just in the interest of time, because remember we got a hard stop here at 3:30. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, we're gonna hit that reset on the Bleacher Report side. Salute to all you guys for tapping in. We're gonna sign off on the Bleacher Report side and keep it rolling on the YouTube side. So make sure you guys are coming over. YouTube.com/KnicksFanTV. Make sure you guys are coming over, and we will see you guys on the Bleacher Report side next week. We'll see you guys there. So thanks for tapping in. All right, on the YouTube side, CP and Alex on the ones and twos once again, back at it on the Knicks season preview, starting off with the center rotation. Remember that this show is presented by Manscaped, fellas, the #1 men's grooming tool, both above and below the waist. Do not be outside caught lacking. Manscaped has several great options and products for you guys to take care of your grooming needs. Whether you got to trim your beard, whether you got to, trim the family jewels downstairs, they've got a number of great products for you guys. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, deodorant, cologne, you name it. Go to manscaped.com. Use our code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. They ship to a number of countries worldwide, not just here in the United States. So remember to use our code and you will get the same deal, 20% off plus free shipping with Manscaped. Manscaped.com, promo code KFTV, no testimonials. All right, Al. How, are you still using your Manscaped products? You all good? No testimonials. I'm just making sure. Do we need to call the plug and make sure you read up on your products, man?
Look, man, Manscaped is tried and true. All right, if you want to, be a gentleman, I might say, that's why you get Manscaped. All right. Hopefully, Unk would do the same thing after what happened on IG.
Oof, Unk. That was such a setup. Please. All right, with the hacked and not hacked. Listen, man. Unk knows the attention game. He knows the content game. Come on, man. He went live, he put the phone down, and he went to work.
Look, man. I was expecting like a Bill Clinton type of the next day on ESPN. Like
I saw that. I saw that on Twitter. That was a good one by you.
Did not have relations.
Yeah.
With that woman.
He doubled down. He doubled down. He said Unk gets it in, man.
Yeah, that's what you got to. Hey, that's what he has to do, man. Yeah. That's what he has to do. But back to talking about centers and being on the lookout. Look, to your point, I think. Yes, it screams that they're not truly confident in Sims. However, I think any front office would be prudent in how they go about this, right? They just don't want to you don't want to just Like just all cash in, be like, oh, we believe in Sims. He'll do it no matter what. We don't got to worry about having a backup option.
Yeah.
You got to just do your due diligence at this point and say, hey, Mitch is not going to make it. Who can we get? Whether it be Robert Williams, Isaiah Stewart, Walker Kessler, and you just go through the whole things of like, or Kessler Walker. That name always got confusing.
Yeah.
However you want to say, like, you want to talk about like who you got to just do your due diligence in seeing, hey, have we exhausted all of our resources to see that we can just secure the center position? So I'm not surprised that they're doing that.
Yeah, I hear you. Here was Mark Stein. Let's get to Stein line here. No, sorry, this is Brian Windhorst. This was a clip from Brian Windhorst earlier this week on ESPN about the Knicks and their center rotation plight. Here's what Windhorst had to say. Let's react to it on the other side. Here we go.
Let's keep an eye on what they do from a trade standpoint as the season goes along. There's already been some connection between them and Walker Kessler with the Utah Jazz. The Jazz are difficult to make a deal with. They have very high asks, but it's possible Walker Kessler could change teams, and he fits nicely about what the Knicks want to do. Also, I would say Robert Williams from Portland. I would say any team looking for a center is going to watch Robert Williams closely this year. After the Blazers drafted Donovan Clingan and they've got DeAndre Ayton, who's probably not very tradable on their roster, I don't know where Robert Williams fits, and I think the Knicks will be among the teams monitoring him. So as the season goes along, Zach is absolutely right. We'll see Julius Randle and his role in that contract be a topic, but on the court, how that center position goes is going to be a big topic from week to week as they try to get going.
All right, so Windhorst puts the Time Lord's name into the hat. We've talked about Walker Kessler a lot on this show. Ian Begley reported that they talked to Omar Yurtseven. He decided to go to Europe. Bruno Fernando was another name. Jonas Valanciunas is another name that you're hearing. So I think this could come down to the trade deadline. I think this will be the trade deadline acquisition that they make to shore things up for the second half run, and just make sure that they have all their soldiers, all their ducks in a row to get ready for a big run. The question is, at what cost? Because whether it's a Time Lord who's making a northwards in in the teens and millions, Valanciunas is around 10. So are we talking a Precious and Deuce combination here? I think it's very interesting. At what cost? How far will they go? Because I don't think it'll be Walker Kessler. Ainge, he wants the house. You don't want to deal with them. Forget Ainge. I'm talking about one of these margin guys like a Valanciunas, maybe a Time Lord. But at what cost? What do you think?
Valanciunas would be tough, man. I'm just not for this team. Like, I get offensively, but defensively, that would just be god awful because you want to talk about the lack of pick and roll defense. Like, it just to me, Valanciunas does not fit what this Knicks team need. With the Time Lord, the only way that's working is that if Mitch and Robert Williams never play the same night, like they have to alternate every single night, so that way they're both fresh. Clothes. Good God, that's like, and for Robert Williams, that has to be like the cheapest deal because we know about his injury history. Okay, there's no way you should be giving up too much to get Robert Williams in return, but it's just murky, man. There's just murky. This is where you hope like there's internal development. This is where you hope Sims can take that next step, because to waste assets on that, I don't see either. Especially Valanciunas and Robert Williams. They're not like the last piece, man. And like I would just hate to say you give up assets for guys who are just going to either one, not fit the scheme, or two, just is injury prone, just like Mitchell Robinson. And so as much as I get that this team is in win now, you got to be prudent with the remaining resources and knowing what you get in return. Because if you're just wasting on another injury prone guy and you're just hoping and truly hoping that he's healthy, that's just not, to me, that's just not good asset management.
I'm with you there. And I don't think they would do that either. Great point by you. I wouldn't want to do that unless it's like break glass emergency, like, damn, Mitch is out for the season, we got to do something. Then, maybe you look into that. Ian Begley also still mentioned a potential pursuit of Nick Richards. Maybe that's something that's there. Or do they just go out and give King Matthews in the chat mentioned JaVale McGee? Do we call JaVale McGee the journeyman's journeyman? Say, JaVale, what are you up to, man? Where you at? You in Cancun? What are you doing? Are you in Taiwan trying out?
You shacking a fool still?
Are you shacking a fool out there? What's going on with you, man? Did somebody give JaVale McGee a call, see what he's dealing with, and let's see where we go. But I do think they will look more into it by the trade deadline and see what happens. But of course, I didn't think anything Windhorst said was groundbreaking. Of course, Robert Williams on a scrub team like the Blazers or Valanciunas, of course those guys should be available by the deadline. A lot of people still asking about Dwight Howard. I don't think they go that way.
No.
Pause. Yeah.
Maybe. or do you think about I know he's trying to deal with his he talked about having like a serious drug addiction and he's trying to get himself clean.
Yeah.
There's one Willie Cauley-Stein, enter the fray where he's a free agent right now. And do you believe in him?
Nah.
Is that somebody they go after?
Nah, he got to get clean, man. That story was wild.
Yeah.
He's got to get clean. He could have been out of here, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
you talking about he taking placebo laced with fentanyl. Oh, he should be thanking his lucky stars. He's still with us.
That's a fact.
Forget the game. Forget the game. No, man. Nah. He got to get himself right. I don't know what was going on over there, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. After he goes through the whole rehab, do you wait for somebody like that? Is what I'm saying.
Nah. I think we can figure something else out. I trust we can do a little bit better than that. Yeah, he's got to figure that out, man.
Figure something else.
What's that?
Figure something else out. I like that.
We got to figure something else out, man. We got to figure something else out. So those are some of the names. Let's get to the calls, Al, and then we're going to get to the Super Chats. We see all the Super Chats as well. 646, what's your name? Where you calling in from? Rapid fire. Let's go. 646, are you with us? All right, thought we had him there, Al. Do we have him? Check.
I don't hear anything.
Yo.
Hey, guys.
Oh.
Yes. What's your name? Where you calling in from?
Hello?
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's Todd Clemens, CP with the B, baby.
Todd, what's good, man? How you feeling, man?
Chilling. Welcome back, Alex. We had to hit a couple of people in the head with onions. They were talking some craziness. They second fans of the Knicks. Number one. We'll make this rapid fire.
Let's go.
Listen, you're right on the mark, Alex. We got to run with what we got. Just basically keep Mitch healthy and to the playoffs to deal with Embiid and the likes of the Joker. I think Sims is going to take that turn and help us out with Precious. And all we have to do is Spotty put Randle at the 5, and we're going to do the damn thing. Finals this year, fellas.
Let's go.
And I'm out.
Salute, Ty. Have a great weekend, man. Ty Clemens on the check-in. 203, what's your name? Where you calling in from?
Hey, hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how's it going? It's me, Rasheem from Brooklyn.
How you doing, man?
Quick question. Mm-hmm. So, doing good. So, I'm trying to cope with the news. Cause I thought it was cool when Hartenstein had left. I was like, we'll still be good. But the more I think about it, I feel like, dang, I think we really took an L. Especially since Brunson said that he didn't take the max or whatever his contract. I was like, wow, could we have used that on Hartenstein? But my question is mostly, man, I know you kind of alluded to it. Like, are we going to be okay? Because I feel like he was such a great asset to us.
Yeah.
I feel like what Mitch had, Hartenstein didn't have, and vice versa. So I know you guys talking about, I don't know who's place he could be, but are we going to be okay, basically?
Yeah.
Now that we're not going to have that piece, that defensive piece, and all stuff that he did add to the team. That's my question. Thank you.
Certainly hope so, man. Thanks for the call. Call back anytime. Certainly hope so. I think the hope is that with Julius back, you make up for, the missing offense. You get some more playmaking. You get some more scoring punch. And then, by committee, we get after it on the boards, especially on the offensive glass if they're not hitting their shots. But the question is, like we talked about earlier, Al, is what's the most optimal offense at the 5 when it comes to crunch time, and how will they adjust as the season goes? That I'm going to be very, very interested to see, especially if Mitch is going to be healthy for a good portion of the time.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where you hope you see Randle at the 5. I just got to point out, it's so interesting how 2 different callers, man, right? Back to back. Yeah. We have one that's ready to jump off who jump out the window, right? He's like, we're going to the finals, man. We all good.
We're back.
Next follow-up caller, Hey man, we all right? We okay? Like, should I be worried? It's like, sheesh. This is us.
This is
what
us.
Knicks Nation's about.
We are back, man. We are absolutely back. Number one show for the fans, by the fans. Like, share, and subscribe. CP and Alex on the ones and twos, man. This is what we like to see, man. All right, let's get to the Discord. Jay from East New York. Jay, go ahead and unmute your mic. Rapid fire.
What's going on, fellas? Can y'all hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear. How you feeling?
Okay, first off, man, shout out to you, CP. Shout out to Alex, man. Yo, listen, man. The Knicks have a great problem.
Yeah.
We have so much depth and versatility, man. Like, when we're fully healthy, like, Tibbs is going to have so many lineups that he can play with. And once you get guys healthy, man, the sky's the limit for the Knicks, man. You know, some fans may be high or low, man. I'm right in the middle, man. I got the Knicks at 55 wins. I think that if we could get a healthy season out of Mitch, you feel me? If we could get him close to 60 games, like, that's what you shoot for, you know, because that's the league average. You want your guys to play at least 65 games for any award. So with that being said, man, I think we're going to be okay with the roster we got right now because, like you said, CP and Alex, we're gonna make another move, man. Leon been hustling all summer. He been kicking the tires everywhere. For Christ's sake, he met with Ermir Yurtseven. That lets you know he's trying to get this center position right. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Precious and Jericho Sims, man. Don't sleep on them guys, man. I think that they're gonna be really good. They're gonna be okay, especially when you got a guy that likes to pass the ball like a Mikal Bridges. You feel me? I think the bench unit of Julius Randle at the small ball 5, you insert a Precious or maybe a Sims, and you keep a Mikal on the floor. Like, we're gonna be okay, guys. Like, and we strong everywhere else, man. So shout out to you guys, man. I appreciate you for having
the call,
me.
man. Tapping in. Have a good weekend. Will from LI, you up next. Rapid fire. Let's go.
Appreciate you, CP, Alex. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
We're going to go rapid fire with it. Well, before we do, shout out to that last video with LJ. That was amazing.
Appreciate it, man. Make sure y'all tap in with that LJ interview, man. We touch on everything, man. So it was a great interview.
It was great. But getting back to my point. So, you know, you guys already mentioned the name of the guy that I'm really thinking about when it comes to solving this center rotation. And it really is Jonas Valanciunas, okay? Now, I'll admit that we do take a hit defensively with him, but the reason that I'm looking at him specifically is related to something that happened this season that we saw, right? When you looked at Brooklyn and that trade for Mikal Bridges, everybody always said that they would never do that trade, obviously for, you know, all the reasons, little brother and all this stuff. But one of the reasons that they did do that trade is because they had their own picks, right? So that shows you that the picks that we have that may not be so valuable are valuable to their own teams that own their pick, right? And which picks do we have? We have Detroit and we have Washington's, right? Washington, you know, that thing is probably going to be, you know, 2 second-round picks if it ever conveys. So that pick is basically worthless. So I feel like that pick means the most to Washington. So why not deal with Washington, get Valanciunas, right? Who's probably not going to be that expensive to go with, right? Maybe you can put in a Precious. I know he makes about $15 million. You know, he averages 12.2 points, about 8 rebounds. He's solid. Defensively, we will take a hit. I'll admit that. But I think he's a great option, and I don't think you would have to do a lot to get him. So I want to see what you guys think about that. Appreciate you.
I think that's a very realistic option, man. Al, your thoughts real quick.
5-star call to Will from LI, man.
Yeah,
look at the logic and the rationale for that.
Yeah,
that's
our
awesome.
guy, man. He's been breaking it down since 2017 with us, man. He's a day one.
That's a fact. But yeah, I could see that. Like, I could see Will's point and breaking it down to that. Like, why not? Why wouldn't Washington want to get their pick back, as we saw like in other trades that happened this year, right? I just defensively, man, I don't know. Like, I get that he gives you a lot of offense, but it's just tough for me to see it, man, because if you're talking about a team that predicates itself on like rim protection, like you're not even gonna have that. Let's say you do lose Mitch, you have Valanciunas out there. You're not having that. I mean, you'll have some offense, but you're totally missing that. And at that point, why not just put Randle out there? Because effectively they're doing the same thing. And I think Randle, not that I know he's a better offensive threat than Valanciunas, and just try to figure out how you stopgap that way. But I understand Will's point, like, get the pick back, go get a center and stuff of that nature, but I think there's other options instead of doing that.
Kane Marco, unmute your mic. K Marco going once.
Yo, hello.
How you feeling, man? Rapid fire. Let's go.
I'm chilling. What's up, CP? Welcome back, Alex. All right, y'all. Valanciunas will never work on the Knicks. Tibbs is not going to put a turnstile at the 5 position. It's never going to happen. We can all stop thinking about it right now. Second of all, Hartenstein was offered the most we could offer him. We simply could not match the offer with OKC. We didn't just let him go because we wanted to. We couldn't match the money. It was impossible. And finally, the Knicks are going to the finals.
Okay.
All of y'all, stop worrying about how the Knicks are going to do, what we're going to do. We're going to have the number 1 record in the league, and we're going to the finals.
Let's
go, Knicks. Welcome back to everybody on the show.
Salute, man.
Glad to have y'all back. And that Larry Johnson interview was incredible.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for tapping in. Of course, K Marco, man. Big fan of the show. Franchise channel member. Always rocking with us. And we are ramping up, man. This was a great show today, man. Why me? Go ahead and close us out. Why me on the Discord?
Yo, CP, Alex, God bless y'all, man. We back. New York, full effect. Let's go. Listen, man, never in my life have I heard of an all-NBA player getting so much scrutiny that I do Julius Randle. Like, he's proven that he belongs here and that he wants to be here. The team has obviously changed, but it's also changing around him based on the work that he put in. You know, we got Jalen Brunson, the son. He's here. We already know. But the lineup that Tibbs is going to put out, the way we're going to impose on guys and throw our weight around on guys is going to be something to see. Y'all need to watch. I don't understand what the media is doing. They just trying to screw it up for us, trying to throw us off. We need to stick together as a Knicks nation, as a unit. KFTV, stand up. Y'all know what it is.
Why me on? Good.
Let's go. We outside. We outside this. We outside this.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Why me on the Discord? We ramping up, Al. We are ramping up. The one thing I would say, and I want to. There's a couple super chats on the Randall front that we might as well just read as well. But the one thing I want to say is, like, you know, a lot of people thinking, you know, the media is like coming down on it. I've been saying this with the contract situation for months now. It's real, and the fact that neither side has come to an agreement, is pressed to come to an agreement, as Ian Begley has said. The business is still the business. Like two things can be true, right? As fans have said, we can all agree. He started the movement. He came here when nobody else did. He went through the fire. He went through the adversity and came out a better person for it and a better player. But the business is still the business. And it is a real... people have asked me, what do you think? I think it's a 50-50 shot. So the idea that because they haven't signed, could he still be traded? I guess. Do I expect him to in the middle of the season? No. I think this would be an end of the season decision where they either come to an agreement or maybe they work out a sign and trade or they lose him for nothing. I think all three of those things are a legit possibility. So as media, you know, that conversation is still going to be had. I don't think it's hate or bringing the Knicks down. I just think it's a realistic thing.
Yeah, for Julius, man, I just don't see why. Like, I think Julius values himself more than what probably the Knicks see him as right now, because the Knicks wouldn't give him anything too crazy of a contract. They'd say, yeah, you're a great regular season guy, but where are you in the postseason? Yeah. And that's what they're going to do, right? Like, think about what they did with the manual quickly, right? Think about those contract negotiations. You know how it's going to happen. It's like, well, look what I did. I was in second place voting for Sixth Man of the Year. Don't you see my talent? It's like, we see your talent, but where were you in the postseason where we needed you most? Yeah. And I think that's always going to come back for any team. It's like, we need you in the postseason. Look how this team performed without you in the postseason as well. We know you can add to it, but we just got to see it before we can just put any dollar number on there at the end of the day. And so if I'm Julius, it's like you got to have some sort of confidence saying, I can go out there and perform, and I'll show you in the postseason that I'm worth that extension. And then the Knicks are just going to stay in pat and say, hey, you show us, and then we'll give you the money.
Simple and plain. The business is still going to be the business, man. But until then, number 30 is here. And we need him. We need him to go. We need him to beat 30. And I'm here for the Julius Randle redemption story, man. Let's read some of these super chats and get out of here, Al. Salute to Eduardo Nunez. Says, I think we He says, $5 super chat. He says, if we cannot re-sign Randle and we're forced to trade him, how would you feel Randle and salary filler for Jeremy Grant and Dwap Reith? Thoughts? I hate it. I've been saying it. Any type of Julius Randle trade has to be a significant upgrade for this team, not a backwards move or a lateral move. Jeremy Grant, to me, is a supporting cast player. If you're going to trade Julius, you need another engine, an all-star for an all-star. It's got to be equal, Al. Real quick, rapid-fire thought.
Yeah, I agree. You cannot give up Julius for anything less than, because you know he can do a lot more than that. I think Jeremy Grant, as you said, is a good role player, but you'd have to have somebody else at another position who could be that engine.
Great comment there. Janelle Torre, franchise channel member, $5 super chat says, we already know what Sims can do, Alex. Absolutely nothing. Let's chill with the false hope. Let's do what we can to get Nick Richards. All right, fair take, but I think, look, Sims in year 3, you just never know, Al. You just never know.
Give him a chance, people. Come on. I was wrong on Precious Achua, all right?
You never know, man.
Come on.
Junior Coroma, Al, our guy, Junior, franchise channel member, $5 super chat, says, CP and Alex, question, does Jew realize that jersey sales incident on Twitter wasn't real? LOL. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even worth talking about. Al, I was at the Usher concert, get my Mac on with my lady. People DMing me, CP, you got to respond to this. You got to respond to this. It was a complete nothing burger, straight child's play. And there's no way the Knicks would even do that. You know what I mean? If he was being traded, they would at least discount the jersey. Come on, man. James Dolan's a businessman, not an idiot. Come on, man. Let's just be real. But yeah, there was nothing to talk about there. Shout out King Matthews, franchise channel member, says, Toyal Jules knows what's up. And once again, no bummerless fanboy. We don't need Lowry to run center for us. P.S. Shout out to KP for the support, man. Shout out to King Matthews. Suave, $5 super chat says, Tibbs sees Jericho's hair. He's team light skin and he wants him to be Joakim Noah. That would be fantastic if he turns into that. Never know.
I mean, that'd be amazing, but no comment on everything else.
Yeah, no comment. $14 Canadian super chat from Hospi. Hospi's out there north of the border. He says, nothing to add aside from 30 Rock Randle revenge season is going to be fun. Narrative will change quickly. Appreciate KFTV holding us down into another Knicks season. Salute from Toronto. He's up there in T.Go Knicks. Salute to Hospi for holding us down. Al, have a great weekend. Everybody at home, have a great weekend. Like, share, and subscribe. Remember to support our sponsors, manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Also, make sure when you guys are getting your tickets, man, go to SeatGeek. Use the SeatGeek code KFTV for $20 off your first purchase. So when you're going out there to get your Knicks tickets, use our code KFTV. Support our sponsors over there at SeatGeek. And yeah, man, Al, like you said, we are back to the grind. Opening night watch party announcements on the way next week. Opening night home opener announcements watch party is on the way. You holding it down in Boston. You going to the game, right? You going to the Boston game?
Of course I'm going to go to the game, man. How can I not go to the game?
Let's go, man. All right, so that means we got to load up on super chats just in case you need us to come through for something. I don't know. We might need some backup, some support or something. You're gonna be out there the championship banner night, man. You got to hold us down, bro.
Get the attorneys ready, all right? Get the secret agents, get the secret service ready for me, all right? That's what we need.
For the retainer fees. All right, man. Yo, lots to talk about. We'll be back next week. Absolutely, man. Lots to talk about. We'll get into the wing position. And yeah, man, just number one show for the fans by the fans. King D's, I see you in the chat. Dawn Baxter, I see you in the chat. Franchise channel members, salute. Great show, Al. Great show.